This is the 128th AGM of British Empire Trust plc. To commence today's meeting, I'll in a moment ask Joe Bernfriend of our managers at AVI to comment in detail on the recent performance and the activity and changes in the portfolio. You'll then have the opportunity to put all of your specific questions relevant to the meeting to the manager and to the board, and we'll then deal with the formal business of the meeting by putting the resolutions to the meeting one by one. And I'm glad to say that over 92% of proxy votes are in favour of all the resolutions today. Once the formal business has been completed, you're invited to join us for tea and coffee, and this will give you an opportunity to talk to individual board members and to the managers. Could you please remain seated until the end of the meeting? I will step down as chairman at the end of this meeting. I've been privileged to lead the board as chairman since the conclusion of the 2007 AGM, which is 10 years ago, and I've been a non-executive director since 2002, which is 15 years. Following this meeting, Susan Noble, who's sitting there, would be alongside me if I wasn't standing here, will take over as chairman. Susan has been a non-executive director for 5 years, and her fellow directors felt that after a very extensive external search, that she was the best placed candidate to take over from me as chairman. And I'm delighted with this outcome and wish Susan and my fellow directors every success in the future. Callum Thompson, whose details are set out on pages 36 and 37 of the report and accounts, joined the board in March of this year and took over from Andrew Robson, who retired as chair of the Audit Committee in May. Senior Independent Director Stephen Bates and Nigel Rich complete the current board. In addition, we have just announced to the Stock Exchange at 11 this morning that Anja Balfour will join the board on January the 1st next year. Anja has over 20 years' experience in managing Japanese and international equity portfolios for Stuart Ivory, Baillie Gifford and AXA Flamington, and more recently has gained experience as a non-executive director of a number of investment trusts. I'm sure she'll bring a fresh perspective to the board's deliberations. Alongside me, we also have Joe Bernfriend, your company investment manager. Other members of the AVI team are sitting in the front row. That's Tom Trainer, Scott Beveridge, and Daniel Lee. So you'll be able to ask them questions too. We also have our corporate secretary, auditors, corporate brokers, and registrars with us in the front row. Last year, we announced a decision to increase gearing, and after this year end, we announced on the 1st of November that we borrowed a further 20 million euros at what we consider to be a very attractive rate of interest of 2.9%. Combined with the debt which we issued in January 2016, recently issued debt totals the equivalent of 74 million sterling at a blended interest rate of 3.55%. We also have 15 million of historic debt at a higher rate of 8 1/8%, which matures in 2023. At the end of November, we had some 42 million in cash, but as Joe will explain, we'd normally expect the cash balance to be much lower. Gearing remains modest, and if we were fully invested with no cash, gearing would still be below 8%. On the subject of dividends, as I said in my statement in the report and accounts, and this is a slight change in our perspective from the past, the board expects in future years at least to maintain the level of ordinary dividends. This is a firmer, clear statement on policy than previously. You'll be asked also to vote on some changes to the company's Articles of Association this year. The most significant change is that we're seeking authority to remove the prohibition on distributing capital profits as dividends. A number of investment trusts have already done this, and we believe that this change will give the board greater flexibility in the future. I emphasise that there's no intention to exercise this authority at the moment. There are a number of other less significant changes to the articles which are explained in detail on page 40 of the report and accounts, largely taking account of new regulation. Your board continues actively to encourage AVI to meet both existing and potential shareholders, and as the board we're committed to an active marketing programme to generate demand for shares. We do expect the combination of improved investment performance and active marketing to generate demand for shares and narrow the discount over the longer term. On the supply side, the company has bought back 9.7 million shares during the year under review, with a view to narrowing the discount and reducing the volatility of the discount. We have the usual resolutions to permit further share buybacks, and I encourage you to vote in favour of those, along with the other resolutions which are being proposed today. The end of our accounting period in September marked the end of the second year with Joe Burnfriend as our lead portfolio manager, and it's very encouraging that our managers outperformed their benchmark again this year, consolidating the success of the previous year. And since the end of September, I'm pleased to say that our investment managers have continued to perform well, and as at the 18th of December, the net asset value had increased by a further 6%, compared with an increase of 3.8% in our benchmark index. So I'm sure everybody's very keen to hear AVI's presentation and their perspectives on the financial year 2017, with some insights for what may lie ahead. I'm very happy now to hand over to Joe.